Hi everybody, welcome to the Rambling Toffee podcast. I hope everybody's doing well today. How can I start this episode? I've been thinking about this for the last few days since the game on Saturday, and where I'm going to go with this and what my real feelings are regarding that performance, the whole of this season, the last 30 years. So I'm just going to go with the flow and see where I go with this, and how I feel at this moment in time regarding Everton Football Club, everything about Everton Football Club. Yes, so after the international break, people could say it was quite nice to have a bit of a break away from everything that is Everton Football Club, especially from the performance that we had before the international break. Obviously, the West Ham game, which was the last game before the international break, was an okay performance in the sense of the word, but again, we can't score for Toffee. Uh, every opportunity that was created in that game couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Final balls were terrible as per usual. It was same old tactics. Same formation, same like for like substitutions, just the usual crap that basically is what the manager is setting up at this moment in time, and the way he's been doing for the whole this season. And for me, you know, coming into the Brentford game, it was a home game, obviously. I was at the usual thing as an Evertonian, the that kills you. You just hope that maybe we'll get a good performance today, that will hopefully will, play well enough that we can get a result. Um, but again, you look at the team that was set up, you bring Decore in instead of Mangala, but it was like for like with the team itself. Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front, who he's not scoring goals for Everton at this moment in time. As I've mentioned, in these podcasts, I don't think he wants to be here, but he has to play because the players, the other strikers that we do have available, which is Beto, is deemed not to be a good enough player to be starting games under Sean Dyche at this moment in time. And I can understand that to an extent because he has been disappointing. He's been a disappointing signing. So I can understand the thinking why he hasn't been starting. But then again, when he has come on, he has scored a goal, a couple of goals, he has put himself about, which is what he is. But yeah, you still start with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who has no kind of motivation or any kind of determination to want, to go out there and put a shift in and put a performance in because his mind's somewhere else, and it looking likely that he's not going to sign his contract if what has been offered to him, and we could see him go in January, but likely that he will go at the end of the season when his contract uh, runs out, and he'll go on a free somewhere else. But you can just see it in his mind when he goes out there to play. So in essence, it's same old, same old. So you start with him. You start with Lindstrom, who played obviously against West Ham. You start with Ndai on the wing. You start with McNeil essentially who's back, but you start Decore instead of Mangala, as I mentioned. I thought he did actually quite well against West Ham with Garner, so I was a bit of a surprise when he was decided to put him in. And at the same old at the back, and nothing changes there. And for me, it started off really well, which was great. I sat there with people around me, and you know we were a bit surprised. Oh yeah, hey, the first 10 minutes in, we're pressing, we're creating opportunities, and I just thought, hopefully this will continue on. And then all of a sudden, it was just like every game that I've seen. It just seems we try for 10 minutes, and then I'll just revert back to kind, which basically let's be central, be defensive. Let's make sure that we don't, give the ball. Make sure that they don't get the opportunities to get forward, and make sure that we are strong defensively. Which over the last few weeks we have been. We have improved defensively. I'll give Sean Dyche that, but basically there is, defensively we're a little bit better, but obviously we talk about the attack here, and the attack is just toothless, and everything about it. And if you watched it in that first 10 minutes, after that 10 minutes, you can start seeing Brentford, who have not won an away game this season. and no points on the road for them. They've not, which was another great opportunity. But you just saw straight after that that they got the ball, and they just start playing their game, doing the way that they play their game, and they were starting to get a little bit further forward. And but and that's what I started to see. And for me, it's just, trying to describe this game and trying to describe this game and no other games this season. It's just like same old thing. Just watching the same thing, watching the same kind of decisions that they're making. Crosses in the box, it's the same old cross into the box. The same thing by launching the ball down to Dominic Calvert-Lewin again to get a drop down. But when that happens, our midfield is further back. They're supposed to be more attack minded. We're at home. That's why I've always hoped when we play at home that we will, play that way and be attack minded, go for it, and just let loose basically. You know, at least do something, create opportunities, get into positions. For that first 10 minutes, I actually thought we were actually going that way, and I thought, oh, hopefully we'll start seeing and more, of the team getting forward and creating chances that way. It just didn't materialise. And you can maybe look at the stat of the fact that we had 27 shots on target, 27 shots, not on target, I wish it was. One would have gone in if that was the case. 27 shots, and basically five of them were on target. And if you watch the game, I think there was about a couple of chances where the goalkeeper made a reactive save in the first half from Calvert-Lewin. I think it was, it flicked and deflected, and the keeper made a really good save. And then another one from Calvert-Lewin where he turned and hit it to the corner, and the keeper put it behind for a corner. And then I think in the second half there was a shot by one of our players, which was tipped over by, I think it was Drissa Gay, I think, which was tipped over the bar. But other than that, there wasn't really anything else to write home about. So any chances that were coming in were either going over the bar or going wide. It was just basically, and so I can't say to you after that game, if you go, we created opportunities, but we could have come away with a win. I felt we should have won that game. No, we didn't deserve to win that game. And especially what happened in that first half where Brentford went down to 10 men, it was like, you would expect the expectation, but I'm going to talk about how I felt, but all as the fans felt in the stadium, what the reaction was to different moments a little bit later. I'm just going to summarise this game. Went down to 10 men, obviously, and you would expect that after that, we would actually have that advantage, and it was the opposite. As soon as he went down to 10 men, all Thomas Frank did with Brentford, he just changed it a bit, sorted it out, made it a little bit harder for us as a team to try and get through their banks of four and trying to get through the low block that they created. And it became difficult. So what I also started to see near the end of that first half was, because we were down to 10 men, we had a few, before half time. I noticed that we started, because of that, they backed away a little bit and allowed Everton to actually have the ball more. And we were passing it around right in front of them. But it was like trying to pass and pass and pass, which is a game that, for Everton, we don't play that game. We don't play passing around that midfield, trying to get get into the wing, get the balls into the box, and trying to play that kind of game. As we all know, how we play the game is give it to Pickford, launch it, or to Tarkowski, launch it into the box, trying to get knocks down and try and play off that to the wings. And what I was seeing, passing, and you can see Brentford were actually quite comfortable with allowing Everton to just pass around in the middle of the park and a little bit further. They weren't allowing the just allowing to do it, and they would just, every time the ball was coming in, or every time they had good enough centre backs, they had good enough defence to actually stop any kind of you know a through ball getting through to trying to get balls through. Instead, we were trying to get him to the wings, trying to get balls in, and they were just defending it perfectly fine. And it was just like, so you expect. So my mindset was thinking, okay, got the second half, got an advantage. My feeling was that, because of that, you would think, would the manager change it a bit? We've got an advantage here. Let's use the players that we got, and to actually use that the advantage to actually go at Brentford in the second half, go a little bit more proactive and react better and go at it. We can. Why can't we do it? And be let loose a bit. Get the wingers like Mikalenko get actually further forward. Yes, we may get counter attack from Brentford, but let's go for it. Let's try it. But no, he reverted. He kept it as it is. What really surprised me in that the second half start was the change he made with Ndiaye and McNeil. He put Ndiaye into the number 10 role, which McNeil was occupying in that first half, and he swapped it. And why it baffled me and probably baffled everybody. I was saying, why in the press conference on Thursday you felt that Ndiaye wasn't experienced enough to play, or not to play in that number 10 role, or he felt that he has never played that role. So why is he playing that role today? After you said that in the press conference, which baffled me as well. So they swapped it round, and the problem is that Ndiaye's product is that he's exciting to watch. He's great to watch, and it didn't matter where you put him on this occasion. He gets the ball and he gets in good positions, but then he runs out of space, and the final ball's not there. So he was having not the greatest of effect that we normally have seen of him. Um, but then as I watched the second half, he was alternating with McNeil back in two, and they were trying it. So different things to try and find a way through, and to try and get into opportunities, but I wasn't seeing it. So then it doesn't. Then it takes the 70th minute for substitutions to take place, and he should have done this, as I say, at half time. We had a man advantage. We had an opportunity, but let's go for a win. But he just decided, no, I'm just going to keep everything as it is. Okay, and Dyer McNeil, yeah, you alternate. Let's see if you can get into pockets and find ways to get through. But it was same old. Either it was a launch from Pickford to try and get Calvert-Lewin to get head-ons to anything. It was when we did get the ball in the central areas and everything else, and passing it around with each other, getting it onto the wings. All we were getting was crosses into the boxes, and nobody was there. And it was to get on the end of it, and it was like any corners or any. We were waiting for an error coming from Brentford, from one of their players, an error and a mistake to happen to enable us to actually get an opportunity. And then obviously the 70th minute, Beto comes on, and everybody expected Beto would be like for Calvert-Lewin. He went 4-4-2, but Beto on with next to Calvert-Lewin. Decore came off, Mangala came on, and they just changed it round to make it into a 4-4-2 formation. And it didn't change anything. And crosses came in. I think Beto had a couple of headers. Both went over the bar, went wide, and there was not, and nothing was happening. And you just knew it was weird, because as soon as they went down to 10 men, in my mind, and the people around me, as we all talked about, it's just said, this is going to finish a draw, or they might get a win. We kept on saying it. It's either going to be a point here. We're going to back away. We're just going to basically stick to the way that the formations, and take to the tactics that we have. Even the 4-4-2 formation is the same setup. It was the same scenario. Launch it. It was just in a 4-4-2 formation instead of a 4-3-4-4-5-1. it doesn't. Something is just not right, and we're in a situation where we had an advantage, we had an opportunity. The manager, again, and his game management as well, and his coaches, the people, they just decided to just continue to play the same way, same thing. The players doing the same thing. Nothing changed. And that second half, there are moments, and this is what really frustrates me, is that you have Brentford who have not won a game away from home. They've had no points away from home this season. The manager, proactive, brings in attacking minded players onto the pitch, made changes early on in that second half, and they had two of the best chances to actually go and score and win. And it wasn't for Jordan Pickford making the saves. That is breakaways, and that is when our feelings is that it got to a point where like this is going, he's going to go for a point, take a point. That's better than nothing really. Take a point, better than nothing. It keeps us unbeaten. At least defensively we're okay. That's fine. It's always great that it's fine to say that the defensive side of things is a little bit more solid, but the attacking side of it, as I've mentioned, is toothless. We're not good enough in an attacking sense. The strikers that we have are not good enough strikers. That Dominic Calvert-Lewin, whatever people think about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, in the years that he's been at this club, he's done some really good things and he's made some good impacts under the Ancelotti time. He scored goals then, and under last season, obviously we saw what he's capable of in the Derby game and what he can cheat, you can get the best out of him and what he is capable of. But at this moment in time, he's a player that is low on confidence, don't want to be at the club. Could it be down to because of the manager? It could be he just wants to a new go somewhere else, refresh and actually rebuild his confidence and play for another club somewhere. That's maybe where his mind's at, where his attitude's at, and you can see it. And because he's not scoring, and because you can see it that he's not performing for us, he needs to be out of the team. And hopefully, with Brozier, who had 45 minutes last night for the under 21s, can come in and hopefully he can hit the ground running and hopefully he can make an impact. But if he's available for the United game upcoming, then he needs to come in. Robert Cavalier needs to sit on that bench. But what really worries me is that are we just going to continue playing the same tactics, the same formation, having Brozier up front? Is he going to be the one to do the knock-ons similar to scenario when we're launching it, or are we going to try a different way? Is the manager and the players, is the coaching setup this week in training, are they going to try something different? Are they going to go out there and think, right, let's try something different because we're going to bring Brozier in because I think he's ready to come in. Let's bring him in. Let's try and play this way. Let's see if that works. If it doesn't work, but if it doesn't work and we lose, but if we tried and show signs that something can work, but we still come away with a defeat or something like that, then I can look at it and say, well, at least you tried to try something different in this game. How I feel and how everybody's feeling around me and the fans who on social media or fans who do podcasts and everything else, everybody's got the same thing. It's just like same old, same old. It's just going to be the same thing away from home. It's going to be the same formation, same tactics, same players, same like for like. The only difference you're taking Dominic Calvert-Lewin out and putting Brozier. You hope that he will come in and make that impact that you want and it works. And we can probably say, well, maybe we've just sorted out the striking situation, and obviously with Chimiti coming back as well, hopefully we're going to have a little bit more competition or in the striking department. That we've got some options, which is what we really need. So we'll see that against Manchester United, but it's same old, same old. And in the end of that game, we just sat there and there's no excitement. There's no come on, It was just like we just sat there and just like every cross that came in, there was no like, oh, getting excited. We weren't. We just knew what was going to happen. We just knew where it was going. And this is like week in, week out at home. Away from home, we play a little bit better, a little bit differently, a little bit better in some ways because we're the away team, because the home team are set up to actually want to attack and want to get forward. So we just stick to the same formation, the tactics, and away from home, it can work a little bit more. We can create a little bit more. We can get a bit, but what we're creating, but we're not putting them away. We're not scoring the goals. We're toothless in that situation, and it's just I'm fed up with it. Really, I'm just fed up with it, and I pay my money like everybody else as season ticket holders who go home and away, and the apathy at this moment at the football club is off the chain. Really, fans are at each other's throats in a lot of ways. There's a lot of disagreement. If you go on social media, everybody's arguing with each other. People. Some fans are still defending Sean Dyche as manager and just feel that off last season, and the circumstances of last season and the situation that we still find ourselves in. But he is now. I mean, press conferences and after press conference after the Brentford game and the things he talks about, you just scratch your head and you say, you're speaking nonsense. We can see what's happening on the field. Why you think everything seems to be hunky dory and seems to be fine to an extent. And when he's challenged on it, it was like challenged on striker, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He was challenged on why we're not scoring goals. And basically, for me, it was like, well, this has been going on before I came, and but you've been in the job for 2.5 years, and you've brought in Beto and Chimiti. Okay, Chimiti is a young player that's gonna, got a few more years before we see what he is potentially could become. But Beto's come in. That's on your watch. That's on Kevin Thelwell who brought him in. So, did you have any input into the striker that you wanted to bring in? Did you say it's okay to bring him in? Was it a farewell only decision to bring Beto in? Because it seems to be that somebody's made that decision. Obviously, Farewell's made that decision. Did you actually agree to him coming in? Do you think he actually fit what you wanted in the formation and tactics that you created and what you've done with the players? Do you think that he was a player that you thought would be good enough to have playing in that setup? So if that's not the case and you didn't have any input, then obviously the players that was brought in, have you had any input on any of the players that have come in? That's the question I want to ask: is does he have any input? And if that's the case, throw it back. If that's the case, then why are you here? If it's just Kevin Felwell making the decisions and you just accept oh yes, I'll take them. You should have some input. And that baffled me as well. So you brought Beto in, you brought Chimiti in. Okay, more pay. Forget about more pay. But basically, we got you got strikers there, and your job is to get the best out of these players, these strikers, and get the best out of the players that you have at your disposal, which you've obviously had some input in bringing in. You must have said yes to them. Well, they came in, so you said yes to it, and you've been accepting of it and thinking that they would be good enough for the formation and tactics that you set up. But what are you doing? So in the last 2 and a bit years, while you come out the other day in the press after a question was asked, you said, "Oh, it's been ongoing for years." Yes, it probably has been ongoing for years, and we had an issue with our strikers. There probably has. You're right. There probably has been ongoing. That's why where we are at the moment of the situation that we're in. But why is it that you are trying to blame something in the past and you're thinking, oh, we're trying to figure it out, trying to, on the training field, trying to find something that works, where basically you've had 2.5 years to actually do it, to get it right. So if you've got a player that doesn't work or doesn't play in the formation or tactics that you set up, then why do you try something different? Try and think, well, how can I get the strengths that he has into my team? And that means you have to work and try and work with other players around you. If the formation doesn't work, try something different. That's your job. You're a manager. Try and find something that works. I am so pissed off with this that basically week in, week out, this season, you always play the same fucking formation, same tactics, over and over again. Every week I do this podcast, I'm talking about the same thing over and over again. I'm trying to see when I'm watching a football match, when I'm trying to watch Everton play, I'm trying to see something different. Something surprised me on Saturday when you changed with McNeil and Dyche, put and Dyche between behind Calvert Lewin. I saw you did. I thought, oh, that's different. Wasn't expecting you doing that because after what you said in the press conference, as I said earlier, that was different. So I thought, well, okay, let's see what you do with that. With that, got an advantage, 10 men, let's go. Let's see if that works. It obviously didn't work because they set up, because they're down to 10 men, they don't want to lose a football match. So they've set up in a way that it makes it hard and difficult for us to actually try and break through. So they've done their job. That's what they are doing. But as that game wore on, they felt like I was watching it. It felt like they were the 11 and we were the 10. That's how it felt. And they were getting the ball, they were passing it around, still doing their thing. It was just like nothing changed. And you swapped it round and then they swapped back because it didn't work. So you thought, well, we'll just do that just to try and see if it does something. It didn't. Why? Because they set up and it made it difficult for players to actually do their job, to do what they do have strength in doing. But what we all found in that game was basically the crosses were poor, they were going wide, the corners were going to the back post as usual. There was nothing different, there was nothing creative, there was nothing, just same old, same old. That is what was happening. So you come out in the press and say, "Oh, this is it's not on me. This has been going on for years." But you've had 2.5 years. The team that you currently have is your team. The players that have come in, been recruited. Obviously, I'm guessing through your input, you've actually input and said, yes, I would like these players to come in. I think they can do a job. But you are not looking in your training week in, week out, trying to find your little nook where you can think, oh, if we try it this way, why don't we try something different formation? Let's try this, try that. Let's try something else. Let's try and find the strengths. Lindstrom, I want him to do well, but every time he's played, he's been poor. And the thing that he's got an asset of is his crossing. Some of his crossing can be quite good, but he's just not hitting. He's not making an impact. But he's playing in place of Harrison, who's not made an impact at all this season. He's been poor as well, and he's playing on the wrong side. Why don't you give him an opportunity to play on the right side? Give him the opportunity. Let's see how he goes on the preferred side, where he made an impact for Leeds in the early days, 2-3 years ago. Why are you not trying that? You just stick him back on there and he's going inside all the time. McNeil, no disrespect, the biggest, when he's on it, and we've seen it this season when he has assisted and he's actually, created and assisted and scored. He's been fantastic with that this early this season when we have been scoring goals, when we have been in this good in situations. But he's only one-footed, and every time he's got the ball, he's on his left foot and he's going left foot, left foot. He can't use his right foot. He's scared to use his right foot. He doesn't know how to use it, and that's an hindrance, to the way he plays because I don't just don't understand it, and it frustrates me when I see it. So what I'm trying to say is this: Sean Dyche comes out with that. He the Ndiaye situation in the press conference where he was like saying, he doesn't play a 10, and then he plays him, and he goes 4-4-2. He tries it, but 70 minutes in. Why do you do it earlier? Why can't you be proactive? And this is the limitation of this manager. If you're Thomas Frank, if you're Brentford, if you're any other manager in the Premier League, Bournemouth example, even Ipswich, even Southampton against Liverpool, they scored 2 goals. They could have won. They could have got a result. Okay, it's Liverpool. It's inevitability. But if you look at clubs even down below us, they still set up, they still pass the ball around, they still have a way and actually change things if they need to change things. And they may still get relegated, they may still, but at least they go out and try and have a proactive manager who's willing to actually try different things, willing to have a squad that he makes sure that they all pass the ball and know what they're doing, know what their jobs are. But if he needs to change it a bit, he knows what to do. And these players are adaptable to do it. And these are teams that are in the bottom three. But if you look at Ipswich as an example, they beat Tottenham the other week and they drew with Manchester United and they played well in parts in that game. Southampton, example, we should have beat them really when we played them. But lately they've started scoring goals and they seem to be a little bit better and improving. But they could be still down there. Leicester, like us, they sacked their manager the other day, so their board was being proactive and they but well, they may not be in the bottom three, but we need to actually get rid of the manager because it's not working, and the fans are not happy there, and obviously there's a pressure there, and they made the decision. We can make that decision, but at this moment in time, our wonderful club, the interim board, and the people who currently run this club don't want to make that decision. They actually still have faith in the manager. They still have faith in the coaching setup. That that's the way things are. But are they concerned? Are they concerned what they're seeing at this moment in time? And I know that sadly we have to wait. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks' time, that Friedkin's come in, and then the manager can be relieved of his duties because he's not getting a new contract. He's not going. Some people think that he'll stay till the summer. He hasn't. He's got not to stop. I can't get my words out. He can't stay until the summer because if we continue to play this way and we continue to play in the same formation and tactics, same like for like, we can't do that. We can't have him in charge. We need new person coming in to actually change things, allow the players that are good enough players, because they are good enough players. We've seen moments when how good they can be, but it's only on an individual basis that we can only see the best of them. Somebody needs to come in to set up the right way to win, to set up a team and players that want to win football matches. Because at the moment, you can see it, it's not working. I sense the players are not happy with the manager, not happy with the coaching setup at this moment in time. We also saw it with Jordan Pickford again, who was shouting to him in the touchline to change things, and he wasn't changing it at that point. He didn't listen. He just said, "I'm changing when I'm ready." When you've got the goalkeeper doing it on a couple of occasions now, I think he did it at West Ham, and you're seeing players, it's just not working. And when you're seeing that, and you're seeing it on the field, and the fans are seeing it, and we're just getting tired of seeing it same old, same old, same old, week in, week out. And I'm just going to say this right now. This is the whole Everton Football Club, the issues of Everton Football Club. This has been going on for 30 years. It's been going on for such a long time, in one guise or another. and it has to come to an end. It's a massive, massive job for the Friedkins when they come in. They have to sort out the mentality of not just on the field with the players that we have at our disposal. It's off the field. It's the people who are working at that club at a higher level, at, and also the academy as well. It needs to be sorted and sorted quickly, and it has to be put in a right pathway because the mentality at the moment on the field, off the field of the whole club is terrible. And the mentality is that it's just to survive and just to get to Bramley Moor. What's going to happen when we get to Bramley Moor? Yes, we move into a new stadium. Fantastic. More money coming in. Naming rights. Yes, all that wonderful stuff will happen. But it's not going to achieve anything on the field yet, straight away. We need impacts now. We need impact so that we can go for the rest of the second part of the season and also our final season at Goodison Park to actually go and enjoy watching our team play its final games at Goodison Park before we go to Bramley Moor. We want to go there and enjoy it. We want to spend the time with the people around us who we sit with and we've been sitting with for years that we may not see again when we go to the new stadium. And the opportunity to actually be able to communicate and speak with those guys again and girls and actually enjoy that interactions because that's the only thing that we are enjoying at the moment is actually sitting with these people and actually talking about not just football, just talking about normal things. And when we talk about football, all we do is moan about what's going on the field because that's all we're seeing. And why is it that when we get one guy, an example here, one guy that's come from South Wales and he comes, his season ticket holder, he comes from South Wales, he stays overnight, obviously, and goes back the next day, but he comes up from South Wales, and that's a bit of a journey to come travelling up. You've got another guy that in front of me, I forgot get his name, but he comes up with his son, and they come from down south, and the journey on the motorway, and then they travel back, and they get to see this. They get to watch this, and I don't care. Oh, it's one defeat in 8 games. Next week it might be one defeat in 9 games. We have won 7 games since December 2023 in a year. 7 games. The whole effing purpose of football, it's an entertainment, it's sport. Yes, we want to go there. We pay our hard-earned money to watch the football, to watch it. Watch our team win football matches. But if the managed mindset is that, oh, I want to set up cautiously to defend, to take a point, and if we get an opportunity to score a goal, to get an opportunity from an error from the opposition, so we can get a win, I'll take that. But my mindset and what I tell my players is that we're set up to be defensive, and to make sure that we would come away from it with a point, and hopefully more if things work out the way for us. If an error is made, that mindset is not now, and it's not Premier League. If you watch Premier League football, even teams, as I say, below us, they go out and play football. They go out and actually entertain their fans. And then fans may think, oh, we'll still make it relegate, but at least I get entertained. At least I can get excited and hope that we can get a result against one of the bigger teams. But that's the mindset. But our mindset is, as fans, is that we want to win football matches. We want to see our team play well. We want to see our team perform. We want to see some get excited. It was terrible on Saturday. It was terrible against Fulham. We came away with a point. But for the vast majority of that game, we were terrible. And most of home games this season, I think Bournemouth game was the only time that we actually played football. We seem to have something. We seem to have something working for us. And that is, why is it not continued? We lost in the end. But why didn't that continue into the next game and the next game? Why? What happened? What what is going on? The manager. This is why the manager needs to go. This is why Kevin Felwell, the director of football, needs to go as well. As much as it's been talked about, he may stay on when the Friedkins come in, but they both need to go because there's an issue with the academy. We haven't got young players coming through. We have a manager who is doesn't really have no connect with the academy. No, doesn't want to really give any opportunity or to look at those players to give them opportunity to come in. Yes, we have a couple of players from the academy from into the under 21s going into the first team, but they're on the bench. They never come on, and they're just there for experience. They're in training with the first team because of experience, so they can learn being around the first team. But you've got a manager that has a disconnect with the academy. And yes, we may not have the players in the academy or the under 21s that are ready to come into the first team and actually start for the first team and actually start games. That I don't know if that's the case. I've not been really watching a lot of the under 21 games. I don't know. Let me know out there if you've been watching what players are out there in our under 21s, whatever, that look potentially could start or come into the first team and may even have an opportunity to play in the first team. Are they there? And if they aren't, then that's down to an issue with the academy then. And if that's the case, then that's on Kevin Felwell because he's the one who's been and his team putting that the academy together to try and get it better and streamlined to a point that we can actually have young players coming through and actually filtering into the first team. So we got players that we can sell on in the future. That's why my feeling is that when Friedkin's coming in 2 weeks' time, they have to hit the ground running. And if they're already talking about it and already sorting it out now, privately, and not really saying it in the public manner at the moment, such as the CEO and everything else, that they need to look at the academy. You have to look at the director of football, and you have to say to him, well, you're not being successful. Your recruitment is 50% probably been successful to an extent. You've had one or two players that have actually, and Dyche one of them. Irabuna when he comes back, Chimiti maybe. But anybody else has not been an impact. I mean, poor O'Brien. The thing is that you spent £18 million on a player and he's not good enough. He just sits on the bench. He played for the under-21s last night, but he's not good enough. He's on the bench. And what I'm hearing in training, he's not good enough in training. He's not ready to actually even get any first team minutes in the Premier League. He might get it in the FA Cup, maybe. We'll find out in January. But he's not. He's sitting there. So what's the point in spending £18 million on a player that's just like become fourth choice because Michael Keane has now become like second choice. Sorry, is he third choice? I'm sorry, I'm getting. So you've Branthwaite, you've got Michael Keane, and you've got O'Brien, or Tarkowski, whatever else. But basically, that's what I'm trying to say. It's basically he's just become, just sit there. What's the point? Why don't you just stick him on? You may as well just send him on loan in January. Why don't you send him on loan? Get some minutes, get some game time. But he's just sitting there. What's the point? That £18 million. Okay, we may have to pay it. We don't need to pay for it straight away. But the thing is that money, because it's come from Leon and because the owner of Leon was going to take over Everton Football Club, and so basically we got some sort of good deal because of it, because we didn't have to pay for him straight away. But as Sean Dyche keeps on talking about, oh, you have an issue with strikers. Well, why didn't you use some of the money to try and bring a striker in and not bring O'Brien in? That's where all the problems and all the crap that's going on off the field is going on, and it's causing issues obviously on it with that sort of situation. And that's why I feel Kevin Felwell and Sean Dyche, when they come in, they both need to go. We need to have, if it means that Kevin Felwell leaves and we have whoever is his assistant, a person with him, if he can hold the fort until you bring in a new CEO, a new director of football, unless you already got one set up, you get them in. And if Sean Dyche is gone, you then get him in and get the right manager. If it's an interim manager, people think David Moyes. I don't know if it means short term or a long term appointment like a Cooper. not Cooper, Potter. If people feel that he's the right man for the job, and somebody else out there who wants to come in, who's young, youthful, got a plan, got an idea, and got a way that they want to take this club in the next 5 years and where we want to go. Because it's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be a massive ask to the Friedkins when they come in, massive ask to the director of football, massive ask for the new manager, and because we've got players out of contract, players on loan at the end of the season, we need to recruit rightly, not just in January if we can, if we have money available, but also in the summer. So when we start the season, hopefully the Premier League still, that we can start the season and actually have some optimism and excitement that we are moving forward. But that needs to start as soon as possible because this can't go on. Fans can't feel like this. We shouldn't feel like this. And we shouldn't have that every game that we just go to the game because we care about our football club. I care about my football club, and I'll go through thick or thin, win, lose or draw. I will go and go and go and go, and I will support them as best I possibly can. But what I'm seeing at the moment, I'm finding it hard to actually get behind the team. I'm finding it hard to find my voice. I'm finding it hard. And I just found when I left the game and I walked back, got in the car with mates, I didn't speak for the whole journey because nothing to talk about. I just needed the time to actually think about what I saw and the way think, what can I what can we do? What's the future? What is the right direction? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Because I'm just getting fed up with it, and I just hope. All I hope is that in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully a couple of weeks' time, we get the approval. They come in and they made the decision straight away because this can't go on. I know okay, it's a draw. I don't care. It's a point. I want to win. I want to win football matches. I want to win football matches. I don't want to watch draws and draws. And you know, and the way the next December is going to be like, it's going to be difficult to get any kind of results because of the teams that we're playing. I think we might have an opportunity with Wolves, and we might have an opportunity with Notts Forest. But other than that, throughout that window, with United coming up next weekend, Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal, and Chelsea, I think as well. I can't see any kind of points coming from there. But it's football, isn't it? You just never know where you can pick points up, without unexpectedly. You might even play well for once. I don't know. But yeah, I've rambled on a bit too far, longer than I thought. I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. It's just frustrating. I just want, to feel optimistic and positive about the future of my football club. I can only feel that when the takeover happens, but on the field, things need to be sorted as soon as possible, and that's just where I feel. So anyway, again, thank you again for the support, listening to my podcast and watching the podcast. I do appreciate it. I'm still on Twitter, X. I'm also on Blue Sky. Obviously, I'm on YouTube. Please subscribe on YouTube. Please subscribe on Spotify. I'm on there. And Apple Podcasts and everywhere where else that I'm on. Um, you know, let me know what you feel about this podcast. Let me know what you think about what's going on at the football club at the moment and everything else like that. I'll be back next week, hopefully, with more positively. Hopefully, that's all you do. You live in hope. So on that note, thank you again for listening and watching. I'll be back next week. Hope everyone has a great week, and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.